An executive coach that would basically anchor the show with me today. I'm in the studio with Mr. Ekerete Olagam Inko. He is an administrator, a business thinker, a coach of entrepreneurs. He is the lead project developer at Insurance September, co-founder and executive coach at Smart Coach Global. He is a masterclass director at Young Leaders Masterclass Nigeria. He's the founder and CEO of Third Party Media Company. And we are so delighted to have Mr. Ekerete in the studio with us today. Welcome to Stay Inspired, Mr. Ekerete. It's so good to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Darson. And being here, it's a dream come true, right?
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. Usually before we say anything on this show, there's so many things that you do, you're involved. I'll give you a little bit of time to tell us about some of those things that you are involved in. But the question I usually would ask any guest that comes on this show is, how do you stay inspired? This show is basically about staying inspired and so that you'll be able to accomplish the things that you have the ability to do. So how do you stay inspired?
Fantastic. I stay inspired by meeting up with people who are involved in business,
Okay.
Running their enterprises, and telling them about how they could do it better than they're doing.
Okay.
And just hoping that what I've said has added something new to their thinking and the way they're doing business.
Okay.
That keeps me inspired.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you do. We also like to, I'm of the opinion that we do not share our stories as entrepreneurs, as business people a lot.
Correct.
So can you talk to us about some of the things that you've been involved in and how your entrepreneurial journey has been so far?
Okay, great. I will say that, first of all, when I was working, as an employee,
Okay.
I got a lot of inspiration from those I worked with.
Okay.
And so that motivated me to do what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Because I saw that there was still a lot of gap in terms of knowledge of the business, in terms of the capacity to run the business. And so, let's say about 10 years ago, and even when I was working anyway, I had reason to, touch base with people to find out what they were doing and see if they were doing it very well. But about 10 years ago, I decided to get into this fully.
Okay.
And I started that with the Third Party Media Company, which is not your regular media company.
Okay.
Now, this was just meant to bring a lot of enlightenment to people about the business that I knew and I still know a lot about, which is insurance.
Okay. Okay.
There's a lot of knowledge gap in that area.
Okay.
And so I was happy to bring that knowledge to people, and I could see smiles on their faces whenever I passed on information, and they're like, oh wow, I didn't know this was going on.
Okay.
And so we moved on from there, to really get into the business side of things.
Okay.
Because we discovered that indeed a lot of people who were starting up businesses, entrepreneurs as we know them, were already aware of the risk that they were confronted with.
Yeah.
And so they knew how to overcome those risks without necessarily doing insurance.
Yeah.
And so we're able to manage them, to enlighten them, and let them see why they should, now take the risks that they could not manage to insurance, which is really what insurance is.
Okay.
And that's been exciting because it's been a combination of insurance and entrepreneurship.
Wow.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
So that's what we're doing, and then I'm happy that incidentally I met this young man who's got some real bright ideas about how business should happen. That's a novel. And together we came to put Smart Coach Global together.
Okay.
And that's working really well because we've got lots of sessions, lots of people that are happy with the information that we're passing, and their improvements on their businesses, and they're happy to testify.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay.
I've gone on to do something I call Insurance September, because Insurance September is as different from third-party media. Insurance September is really about the customers.
Okay.
We're focusing on the customers and saying to the customers, there's something that insurance offers you which you're not aware of. So we did an event last year, bring customers together. We're hoping to do another event this year. Every time it happens in September,
Okay.
to bring knowledge to insurance customers and ensure that their experience with insurance companies, insurance sector generally in Nigeria is better than it used to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's fantastic. I would like us to talk about entrepreneurship development in Nigeria. Now, you've talked about the fact that you're basically involved in the insurance sector, and then you're basically bridging it with entrepreneurship development as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what entrepreneurs need to do more to develop themselves and be able to maximize the opportunities that are available to them.
Okay, great. This is how I would like us to look at it.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs are essentially risk takers, whether they're coming to make profits or just coming to change the environment.
Okay.
They're risk takers. And they need to be aware that most of the financial services we see around are risk enablers.
Okay.
So they are there to enable you better.
When you say financial services, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the banks, I'm referring to the stockbrokers, I'm referring to the capital market fund managers, I'm referring to the pension services that we have around, I'm referring to the insurance services that we have around, you know. So they are there for entrepreneurs to be enabled to do what they know how to do, which is take risk.
Okay.
And so behind all of that, you have insurance, which are the risk bearers. And so I like to look at it from that perspective, that we live in a world that is essentially, you know, about risk. And so a business person is just someone who's decided to better manage risk in a productive manner.
Okay.
And so when you're doing this, you need to be aware that the banks are not just there for you to go and put money. Of course, they are there to ensure that what you are doing, you do it better than you would have done it without them. Okay. Okay, so the insurance side of it is that, hey, all the risk that you are confronted with, you know, there are solutions around all these risks that you're confronted with. Okay. So why don't you look at that area and be sure that you're doing your business better? Now, what do they need to do to get better? You need information. A lot of entrepreneurs that I've met do not have the information that I provide them with. Okay. Okay. So essentially, when people say access to finance, access to credit, access to market, access to technology,
as some of the challenges,
you know, I say, look. They've got to first of all have access to information. Okay. This information is not there. So how do you get this information? You've got all sorts of tools that can provide this information. So you've got to do the basic thing of reading. Okay. Like we said, you've got to investigate before you invest. Okay. And so, before you got into this business, what did you know? You're getting into it, what do you now know? Okay. Because you've got to spend time to learn the tricks
of that particular
business. You never get stranded that way. Because the whole value chain is in front of you. Okay. So if this is not happening, this is happening, you could move from one end to the other, you know, and stay in business. Absolutely. Yeah, that's so. What I think they need to do more is to get more informed. And there's different platforms that you can subscribe to. Smart Coach is one of them. Okay. You know. Certainly. You know, so that's what I think they need. Information. Okay. And information, particularly in the area of how do I use the money that I make. A lot of that is not happening. People make money in this economy, a lot of money. But how do they use that money? That's where the real question. That's the real question. How do we use the money that we make? Are we using the money to make more money, or are we just spending the money and expecting that where we made the money from, we can go back there and pick more? Okay. That's why you find some of us struggling, because we just want to make the money and spend it, without thinking that we need to spend the money, but in something more productive that can bring more money. Okay.
Now, you talked about Smart Coach. Let me ask you a question about, you know, we have, by virtue of what we do on Smart Coach, we interact with a lot of entrepreneurs. Yes. And then we have entrepreneurs who do not see the need to pay for mentorship or to pay for coaching. And how would you react to that?
It's simple. I think it was David Oyedepo that said, you will invest in what you respect. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Yeah. Except you want me to say more than that, and I will tell you that I have seen the difference between those who have invested and those who have not invested. It's really amazing when you are required to invest to gain knowledge. You know, pittance, if you like, as compared to what you spend on your life.
Absolutely.
You know, but when you don't get to learn more, you know, you just find yourself at some point not making progress, and you're wondering, why am I not making progress? There's no new knowledge.
Sure.
So how do you gain new knowledge? Life is about perspectives. So if you come to us on the Smart Coach, what we do is we're looking at the same thing you're looking at, but we do from different angles.
Sure.
And we're saying, hey, you know, it's not enough to set up your business. Open up, have a fantastic office. Where are the customers? Which is what you know you and I have always talked about. Where are the customers? Where are your customers? I mean, you need to have customers before you even open shop. You know, so I tell people that are seeking to get money to start business that you can indeed get money from the customers to open shop. And then when people know that you have been in this business and you're making good money from the business, you open shop and then you never stop selling. But you don't open shop and now start looking for customers. Because that way, you've invested money in the shop and you get under the pressure of meeting up. Meeting up. I mean, it's avoidable in my view.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I'd go to the next question. Now, we've talked about the fact that entrepreneurs need access to information, they need mentoring, they need coaching, and that's fantastic. Well, let us talk about what we think, or what you think the government needs to do more in terms of creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurs to thrive. Because if government policies are not friendly to businesses, then entrepreneurs will struggle to no avail.
Now, my opinion on that is this. We don't even have policies for entrepreneurship in Nigeria. So it's an advantage and it's also a disadvantage. The fact that we don't have policies, specific policies on entrepreneurship in Nigeria, you know, provides opportunity for you to, if you like, do what you like to make money. And that's what we find a lot around. You know, and people call it hustling, for want of a better way to put it. They call it hustling, and everybody is hustling to make money. Let me tell you something, Datsun. In Nigeria, you've got a situation where someone starts a business on account of knowing you, who is a director in some ministry in government. And so I've started a business of supplying papers to this particular ministry. And you see me tomorrow, I say, I'm doing business. The day that man is moved from that position to another position, my business has ended. Is that business? No. Because that guy has not put himself, or his company rather, in a position where you would want to invest.
Absolutely.
There are no records. He reports to himself. He supplies and he gets 5 million naira, and he thinks 5 million naira is all my money, without knowing that he's got to put that money, part of that money, back into that business to grow. You know, it was only an opportunity for him to start. He needed to see it that way, so that he could start from there and expand and build into other areas. But because he didn't have the sense of being an entrepreneur, what risk was he taking at that time? Essentially, no risk. And so he does that. Now, how is government supposed to respond to this? Because as far as the guy is concerned, he will tell someone, I'm doing business with so and so ministry. Without necessarily saying how he entered the place. It was not competitive, and so he started business. Now, it's okay, but you've got to move beyond that and build it to be indeed a business, so that you can go out and the thing is running. That's what we call business. You are not there and it's running. You know. Now, what government is doing is to expect that people like that will move beyond that and be in a position where they can now pay tax. Now, government becomes... But if I may say, yes, government is required to create an environment, like we all say environment, but hey, why don't we see the environment? I'm saying that the environment is already created. All we need to do is connect with that environment. And people are connecting with it. But it's too much of time spent on frivolous things. You know, I was saying to someone recently that, you know, the challenge we have in Nigeria, this challenge we have in Nigeria is in discipline. And that's why you find a business owner who is not at his business. We have a lot of absentee business owners. You know, and then the manager that you have employed is running the business, and someday the manager sees the opportunity and decides to go and set up his own business. And you say, wow, see how Nigerians are. I employed this guy and he set up his own business. Were you there? The customers know the guy. The bank you're putting your money in knows the guy. The suppliers know the guy. The government regulators know the guy. So who owns the business? So it's really the owner of the business. And the guy looks at you, you're not there, and he goes on to set up his own business. And he gives it time. And his own even grows bigger than yours. And you're pointing and you're telling people, hey, I've met such people, and they grumble, and I tell them, the guy is not the guy's fault. Exactly. It's your fault. Because you set up a business and you weren't there.
Hold that thought. Let's go on a quick break, and then when we return, we'll continue our conversation on entrepreneurship development in Nigeria. Don't go away. Stay with us. Back, everybody. You're watching Stay Inspired with That's Number One Television Nigeria. I've been having a phenomenal conversation with executive coach Mr. Ekerete Olagam Inkom, and he has been sharing his thoughts with us on entrepreneurship development in Nigeria. All right, Mr. Ekerete, you were talking about the fact that the environment is already created. Yep. Now, some people would obviously argue with that particular submission that, you know, the government needs to do more. But you're saying that we need to take an in-depth look at this environment and find out what we're not doing, even within the opportunities that we have available to us.
Yep. I argue anytime that government is doing a lot on the side of government.
Yeah.
Businesses need to do a lot on the side of business.
Okay.
And I go back to
the issue. When you say businesses need to do a lot more on the side of business, what are you talking about? I'm
saying that it's a matter of expectation.
Okay.
You know, let me give you an example. The government says the power sector has been privatized. Now, there's a huge value chain in the power sector.
Yeah.
You know, renewable energy is huge, for example. Now, that information, because I think that information is not, you know, available to the entrepreneurs, and is also not taken by the entrepreneurs in a manner of seizing the opportunities that emerge. You know, so one would say government is not doing much.
Okay.
You know, government is not creating the environment. Now, government is even getting into the business side in a bid to show that we have created the environment.
Okay.
All right. Let me leave that and even come to the insurance sector, for example. Insurance sector practitioners will say government needs to help the industry. And hey, how much do you expect government to help the industry when government has set up the policies that should drive the business, and government has also made itself a customer of the business, and paying most of the premium that you hear about in the industry. Now, but the larger part of the population still do not understand or even have a sense of insurance. So are you expecting government to now come and, you know, enlighten the people on insurance? No. There are opportunities for businesses that are involved in enlightening people, right? Communication companies should be doing a lot in that area. So there's a lot that should happen in terms of education of those customers, and then engaging them and the experience that they are having. So there are so many things that we can provide as services that are not happening. You know, so is it government that will do it? My answer is no. So we've got to seize the opportunity and do it and show that we can do it. Let me tell you, if we have people who are half as passionate as politicians are about politics, then the business environment, entrepreneurship will be better. We are waiting on government, and government is not even looking in our direction. So let's do it. So people are doing it. So why don't we have more people doing it? And I'll tell you also that we need the stories of those who are doing it to come through to inspire other people to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the story is not there. What you hear a lot of the time is, I don't want to share my story because I don't want to be attacked. I don't want, you know, several reasons we give. But the real issue is that If I've succeeded, then somebody else has been inspired.
Yeah, exactly.
And the person needs my story to actually move in. So, I think, to expect government to do more than that is expecting government to do business.
Okay.
And government should not do business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move forward. Now, I was at a Smart Coach event where you actually were talking about the fact that entrepreneurs need to have more in terms of customers than we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are consistently looking for funds for their businesses, as opposed to developing or increasing or seeking to increase their customer base. I'd like you to shed some more light on that.
Now I remember that was one of our meet and greet events, which we do every 2 months. And the point is that, even when you are going to seek finance for your business, the financial providers, will be looking for what kind of customers do you have on, what kind of income do you make, what they're looking at different things, because they don't want to put their money and now become unsure of the money coming back. That's essentially what fund providers do. Whether it's a bank or whether it's even a government fund that is being subsidized and provided for entrepreneurs, they want to be sure that this money will come back. Now you don't have records. Who are your customers? I have some customers, and all of that. So at the end of the day, the issue is, if you don't have information, you can't also access such funding.
Okay.
That's the way it is.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on a break. We'll come back after this. Welcome back, everybody. We've been in the studio with Executive Coach Ekerete Olagam Ikom, and I'd just like to move on and ask you about what entrepreneurs or business owners need to do in terms of developing customer service. Now, we're in Nigeria that you walk into a bank or you walk into a restaurant and then you're wondering, what are you doing about developing or enhancing the customer service that you're offering? So what would you say?
We don't offer customer service, do we? We don't offer customer service. That's the truth of the matter is that, customers just decide that they want to open an account with a bank, and they go in and open an account with a bank. That's the customer's decision. Now, does the bank, we all like talking about the bank because the banks are in the front of what we do. I do know that the industries that really experience customers' issues, the banks, the hospitality businesses,
telecom
airlines, and all of that. And so, if you check, they are constantly trying to attract customers. But to serve customers is, in my view, an entirely different thing. So when a customer gets there, it's the customer's decision to buy what he wants to buy and leave your place. Now, what kind of experiences do we have when we go there? Because that's where the issue of customer service comes in.
Exactly.
We have naughty and horrible experiences that we don't want to share. Or because we will say it's their business. I've bought it. I bought what I want to buy, and I'm gone. But the truth of the matter is that customer service, in my own view, is a future industry. Because people will always require to be served in a manner that will be exciting. And it's not happening yet.
So what do entrepreneurs need to do?
Entrepreneurs just need to, take note of the fact that this is not happening, and begin to build knowledge on how it happens. What do customers want?
That's a question to ask.
And why have they decided to come here? You don't assume that it's the color of your place that makes them come, or it's the niceness of the smile you put on that makes them come. You have to find out so that you can engage them to come back. Customer service is something that has its own, some mini value chain on its own. From the point where they've met you, what will make them come back is really the customer service question. What will make them come back? Then you will know whether you serve them or you do not serve them.
Absolutely.
That's where the issue is. And so for the kind of business that I've been involved in, you know, I do know that when you have an insurance claim, the guy doesn't come back. And so you know that the guy wasn't satisfied. So you need to engage the guy. If you ask insurance companies, you had 50 people that had claims last year. How many of them are still doing business with you? That's the customer service question. Is there to serve the customer, whether internal or external. You know, that's the point that needs to be solved.
That's fantastic. As we wrap up today, because we're actually running out of time, there's no way, or cooperatives, right? One way that we can develop entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship processes in Nigeria. I would like to, because you're also the chairperson of a particular cooperative, I'd just like to talk a little bit about that, how that entrepreneurs can leverage on the opportunities that are available within the cooperative societies.
Yeah, interesting. You're putting me on the spot here. Cooperative movement is something I have been quite excited about in the last couple of years. I've come to know what it means. You know, cooperatives build economies, and Nigeria and Nigerians need to take cooperatives more seriously. Cooperatives have been seen in the past as somewhere you go to contribute money and ask for loan. You know, no, it's an enterprise. It's a whole, you know, industry on its own. I was amazed to find out, you know, talking about getting information, that the cooperative movement, you know, CBN does not regulate cooperatives. And so cooperatives are regulated, self-regulatory, because when you set up a cooperative, you don't have a CEO managing it. Everyone gets involved in taking decisions on how it moves forward. So the thing to do with a cooperative, you know, is set it up. Whether or not you are contributing money, you know, you've got to understand that you are involved in a business. So you go in with a business sense and know that for every one kobo, there must be something that comes back. So we need cooperatives to also build capacity in terms of money. They shouldn't be looking for money when they already have money. They shouldn't be looking for help when the help is within. Because in a cooperative setting, you've got someone who is a finance person, you've got someone who is a supplier, you've got someone who is a manufacturer. And so within that setting, you can indeed support one another without spending money. So if you want me to paint your house, I'm a cooperative, I will also want you to supply me with food. So if you supply me with food and I paint your house, we are good. You know, so that's the spirit with which it moves. And people need to understand this, so that they don't leave the cooperative and go look for money outside. What do you want to use the money for? To buy something, to build a house, to send your children to school. You know, somebody in the cooperative owns a school, and he has a need also. So these are the kind of ideas that we can bring into our society and build it up, and we get better. Stop looking at government.
On this note,
government is not looking at you.
Mr. Kerete, we've run out of time, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us and stay inspired. You have to come back on this show. No matter how much time we have, there's still a lot that we can talk about in terms of developing entrepreneurs in Nigeria and in Africa as well. Thank you so very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Fantastic show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're inspired.
That's our show for today. We've been talking with Executive Coach Ekerete Olagam Ikon, and he has shared so many wonderful insights with us. He's talked about the fact that entrepreneurs need to go out and get information that they need. So in other words, what we need more to develop ourselves as entrepreneurs is access to information. And he's also said that we should get to that point where we are looking beyond the government, that the environment has already been created for us to actually begin to do things that we ought to do in a manner that will produce the results that we want to see. He's also talked about the fact that we need to develop customer service, basically highlighting the fact that we do not have customer service practitioners in Nigeria in our business sector. So it's important in your little business, let me not say little, in your small business, it's important that you develop your customer service skills. And these are things that we can learn. So go out there and get the information that you need to learn and to develop yourself. He's also talked about the fact that entrepreneurs need to also come together and harness the powers, the possibilities that exist within the cooperative societies. You can form groups and begin to do certain or have certain projects that you are involved in executing together. If you have a question for my guest, when you watch this video, I'd like you to drop those questions in the comment box, and we'll pass those questions across to him. You can also connect with us on social media. Social media handles are on the screen. If you're an entrepreneur, you'd like to be on the show, you have services or products that you would like to promote on this show, do get in touch with me. My social media handles are on the screen, and let's connect and take our relationship to the next level. Our show continues next week. Ensure that you're watching these videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So whatever you do, ensure that you go out there and begin to add value. All right, until we meet again next time, stay inspired. Take care. Bye-bye.